Hey guys, it's Scott here and welcome to the first ever player review on my channel for FIFA 20. Today, this is going to be about Gary Lineker's Prime Icon Moments card. I thought, what better way to jump into the player review world than by doing it on a Leicester legend himself. So if you do enjoy the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, if you want to see more content like this, but also provide me with some feedback down below to let me know how this review goes, if there is anything you think I miss, or anything you would like to see added. Without further ado, let's get into it. So here we go, Prime Icon Moments Gary Lineker coming in at 5'10", high-low work rates, which for a striker, pretty good. He's always going to be on that attacking front, but if you want a striker that is going to come back and help a little bit more on defence, he may not be your guy. He's got 3-star skill moves, which for a striker, again, is okay. It's not the end of the world, because he does have a 4-star weak foot to cut back on, which is not too bad. But if you are looking for someone a little more tricky, then obviously Gary Lineker is not your go-to guy. But still, 3-star is not the end of the world. His in-game stats look phenomenal. His pace looks amazing. His shooting stats are out of this world. His passing stats for a striker are actually really, really nice. And his dribbling stats look stupendous. He has good jumping and heading, which, if you can somehow make it work on FIFA 20, fair play to you. They're not that bad. Stamina is perfectly fine for a striker, and his strength is okay. So, Gary is obviously known for nowadays match of the day and stuff like that, but he had a very, very good career spanning many, many years. At Leicester City, he spent a lot of his time there. He also spent time at Everton, Barca and Spurs before going to Japan. This Icon Moments card is actually based on him playing for England in the World Cup, as you can see right here. So, not a bad card on the face of things. Let's get into some gameplay. This is the team that we're going to be using for the gameplay. We're going to start off with 4-2-3-1 with him as a lone striker up top, and then switch into a 4-4-2 later on for the last couple of games in a two-man strike force up front with Perez. I know it's not the greatest team in the world, but this is my first attempt at a player review, and so this is the team that I'm rocking with to start off with. If you guys enjoy the review and you want to see more and you enjoy my style of it, I will happily try and upgrade my team as much as possible to make it so the reviews can match your teams a little bit more closely. But this is what we're using. Let's see how good this Gary card is. So this being the first review on my channel, I feel like it would be wise for me to briefly explain how I'm going to go about doing these. Firstly, I would like to just take an overall view of the player and summarize my thoughts on them in general before diving into each attribute of them and focusing on things that I like, things I dislike, and then having a general overview at the end. So to start off with, he has no traits or specialities that matter, which is unfortunate when you're paying that much for a player, but hey, what can you do? So we are going to jump in and look at this Gary Lineker card, starting with his pace. So this was actually the part of this card that disappointed me the most. Now, Gary Lineker has 92 acceleration and 89 sprint speed without a chem style on him, which are actually really, really good stats, but you can see in the clips in the background that there is a very common theme here. He didn't feel as quick as his stats say. They feel like they are deceiving. And so, at times, I thought he was too slow, very catchable by players that don't have outrageous pace stats, like Matuidi, Smalling. Even with shadows, they shouldn't be catching up to this guy. So, it was disappointing. Doesn't feel like an end game card. And so, when we're getting towards that part of FIFA, he just doesn't feel like the pace that he should have. Which, I mean, maybe it was the fact I was only using an engine, but that should bump him up to plenty of pace. So I would say you're probably going to be disappointed with the pace on Gary Lineker's card. 6 out of 10. As we move on to shooting, it's worth pointing out that despite his pace, because of his 99 attacking positioning, this Gary Lineker card will try and get in really good positions all of the time. Like, he'll always be available for that through ball, whether it's through the middle or down the wing, and so his pace isn't as much of a problem off the ball. So, in terms of the rest of his shooting, what else is there to say about this Gary Lineker card? He is absolutely incredible, right? Like, He's not going to score every single shot because that's just how FIFA works this year. Like, you can have 99 finishing and you won't score everything. But the shots that he does miss are still very, very good. And even if he doesn't score, like 99 times out of 100, it's hitting the target. So we scored a lot of goals. He averaged over a goal a game for us in the 10 games that I did play with him. And you can see that his finishing is just top drawer. His shot power is really, really good as well. So you're going to get a lot of power behind those. And his long shots, you will see the last 3 goals of these highlights are incredible, combined with those 95 volleys as well. 99 penalties as well is great, makes it so that it's even easier to score penalties. But the thing is, with this Gary card, he just scores quite a range of goals in terms of the fact that it can be a drag back into a shot, it can be a volley, it can be on his weak foot. And it is worth stating that this 4-star weak foot does feel pretty damn good when it comes to his shooting. Now, a lot of these have been on his right, but I'll show you a couple on his left as well, just so that you know that I'm not making it up. His left foot is very, very nice. And there are some opportunities where, right there, that is why he is not getting a 10 out of 10. Whilst his left foot is very, very good, as you will see right here, he will score a lot of bangers on it, and some of the goals that he's scored on it are sick. Like this one, little drag back into a finesse on his left foot. His 4-star weak foot not being a 5-star is literally the only reason why his shooting is not perfect and a 10 out of 10. I felt like it would be very harsh to not give him a 10 because of how many goals he scored. And look, his weak foot is really, really good, but it's just not quite perfect. But as you can see here, the 99 shooting and finishing is summed up in these last 3 goals. You are not going to be disappointed. If you just want a goal scorer, he's one of the best in the game. Like, he is absolutely amazing when it comes to shooting. And this last goal sums him up right here. 9 out of 10 shooting. What a card. Next up, we move on to his passing. Now, if you look at his passing stats at the top left there, they don't actually look amazing. However, I would say that this is where chem styles come into play on this Gary Lineker card. Because I used an engine chem style on him, which boosts his short passing up by 5 and his long passing up by 10. So he actually moves up to 90 short pass and 83 long passing. And once I'd done that, his passing was very, very good. I was surprised by it, very much so. His passing was slick, it was smooth. His through balls, you'll see some of them, they're really, really clean. And not just on his strong right foot, but on that 4-star weak foot that we talked about before, like right there, that is a beautiful through ball. And the one downside, the reason why I haven't given him more than an 8 out of 10, despite his passing being really, really good, is he does need a chem style. Without that chem style, it will not feel as good, but honestly, he was very surprising in this department. 8 out of 10. So Gary Lineker's dribbling is up next, and this was a very, very interesting one for me. He felt like he had very, very clean dribbling with tight ball control and pretty intricate footwork for someone that I didn't really expect that much, even though his stats are pretty good. I did boost this up yet again with the engine chem style because I believe this is by far the best chem style for him because of what stats need boosting on him. And this actually brings all of his dribbling stats to 90 plus. And so that is most likely the reason why he felt so good on the ball. And the 2 downsides, I would say, the reason why I've not given him higher than an 8 out of 10, despite again showing very, very good ball control and feeling smooth on the ball, is he only has 3-star skill moves. Now, it's not the end of the world for a striker because you don't necessarily need 4 or 5 skill moves in terms of the star rating, but it does limit your options a little bit. Like a goal like that, it's perfectly fine. Sometimes all you will need is drag backs, fake shots, and things like that because we know how effective they are in this game. But it means that you can't be as unpredictable as you would like. You can't whack in a La Croqueta or a rainbow flick here or there just to sort of bamboozle your opponent and create some other goal-scoring opportunities that aren't as predictable. And the other downside is that when he is sprinting, he doesn't seem to keep the ball that close to him compared to other players. However, when you are just in and around the edge of the box, doing a couple of skill moves, heel to heel, and drag backs, His dribbling feels very, very tight, and he has a lot of ball control. So I rate this Lineker card very highly when it comes to his dribbling. And I feel like it is very, very smooth. It's just a shame that he doesn't feel a little bit smoother when sprinting or have just that extra star in the skill moves department. But other than that, I'd say very, very nice card. You will not be disappointed with this Gary Lineker. And I think it's sort of summed up in this clip right here. Like, he feels fine when you need to do sort of basic things with him. He'll be good for you. 8 out of 10. To end off the stats section, we'll take a quick look at Gary's physical before jumping into our overall review and comparisons to other players and price points. He's pretty good at being what you expect, basically. He's not the strongest, but he's also not the weakest. He can hold his own at times, but he will get out-muscled by players with high strength and high aggression. That low aggression does mean that he's not going to get stuck in as much, and you can tell that. However, he's decent at jumping if you want him to win a couple of headers, and his stamina is amazing. Like, you are not going to have any problems with that. So, 7 out of 10. Now, before I get into my overall review, it's very important to look at the prices of Gary's other cards on the market. Now, you can see the variation in price between these and the massive, massive gulf between his Prime and his Prime Icon Moments card. Now, what are you getting for that value? 3 times the amount of coins. It is pretty huge. That will take you a lot longer to save up for than his Prime would. So, you are getting better shooting. The other stats aren't really that different in terms of his pace, his dribbling, his passing, or his physical. The other one stat is extra 9 composure. Now, that is a bit of a difference maker. So, that is probably why his finishing also feels so good, because he doesn't get rattled by anything that's going on around him. Is that worth 3 times the price? It's debatable, to be honest with you. But let's look at some alternatives here then. So, if you're going for a really cheap version of someone that plays similar to Gary Lineker, I'd probably say Harry Kane. He's going to feel a bit slower, but with better passing. And there are a couple of others like Immobile and players like that that also fit that same archetype of player. If you're looking for someone similar but a little bit less in terms of value, then Prime Icon Moments Ian Wright is another one that is similar to Gary Lineker in pretty much all stats, just slightly worse in most of them. And the other one that I've chosen here is Mbappe, because Mbappe really isn't that different in terms of price, and yet he is a very, very meta player, and we all know how good Mbappe is in this game, and so I feel like it's important to compare him to someone that you know and love and see all the time, and see that the price difference really isn't that much. So it's whether you are willing to trade the skill moves, the weak foot, and the pace, I guess, because Mbappe, whilst his stats aren't that much higher in pace, he feels a lot quicker. And are you willing to give that up for the extra shooting and stuff like that? Well, it's up to you. I'm just providing some alternatives here that you could go for. So, with that said and done, let's get into the final review. So, Prime Icon Moments Gary Lineker then. I am giving him his ratings on the left-hand side of 6 pace, 9 shooting, 8 passing and dribbling, 7 physical, giving him a generous overall of 8 out of 10. However, value for money, I'm going to drop him all the way down to a 6. As we saw with those alternatives, you can buy normal Mbappe, whack a marksman chem style on him for less than half the value of this Gary Lineker card, and he'll probably play just as well. However, when we go into the pros and cons very quickly, we look at his shooting. Obviously, a massive, massive plus. He'll score from anywhere. He's not going to let you down, that's for damn sure. His shooting is amazing. His dribbling felt really smooth and tight, which was very nice. Passing was great for link-up play and really surprised me. And obviously, he is an icon, and so he doesn't need to get any specific links to fit into your team, and he will also provide chemistry for other players. Cons of the card, heavy sprinting, really feels a little bit heavy and slow on the ball, even though his pace is 90 plus. It's a bit weird. He's not the strongest in the world, so he doesn't make up for that lack of pace with strength. He only has 3-star skills, which is a bit disappointing. It's not the end of the world, but it still would be nice to have 4-star at least. And it's a shame that he doesn't have a 5-star weak foot, because that would take his shooting to 10 out of 10 and his passing probably to a 9 as well. Low aggression does come in, and you can feel that on his card as he doesn't go into challenges as strongly as you would like. He is forced to use an engine chem style. Any other one is a complete waste, in my opinion. And so you are forced to use a specific chem style. Value for money, again, is a big con. And then this line of commentary, which you're going to get very tired of.
Lineker doesn't get the ball outside the penalty area very often.
It may sound like I'm nitpicking, but you are going to lose your mind over hearing that 10 times a game. So to end off today's review, we are going to give some recommendations for this Gary Lineker card. So obviously, I've banged on about it enough in this episode. Chemistry style, you have to use engine. Because his pace, again, it feels a little bit low even though it is actually 90. So you've got to boost it a little bit more. That big passing boost made such a difference when I was using this card. And that dribbling boost that you can get with engine, especially with the plus 10 balance and dribbling, is huge. Perfect chem style for Gary Lineker. Use anything else, you're a fool. Play style. Now, obviously, he does have pace, but it doesn't seem that evident at all the time, so you've got to use it in certain areas. Just abuse the fact that his shooting is absolutely outrageous. His tight dribbling is really, really good, and I would say that you can use him a lot in build-up play, which means that he suits a two-man strike force, doing a load of 1-2 passing between the two. Avoid physical battles because he isn't that strong, and just shoot with him because basically everything goes in. In terms of strong links, we've got a couple of recommendations here. And so Sterling is obviously one that goes on the left-hand side. You can also use him on the right if you want. Madison's card is really, really good, and he will go through the middle. Jadon Sancho on the right, and also Mason Greenwood's Future Stars card is a really good one that could pair up with Gary Lineker. Obviously, he doesn't need strong links, but those are players that you can potentially build into hybrids alongside him, and they'll be really good. So, let me know your thoughts on this first attempt at a player review. Do you think that the style of video was good? If you do, thumb it up, subscribe if you're new, leave any feedback and recommendations in the comment section down below, as it will really help me out, as I would love to do a load more of these videos, and if it goes down well, happy days. So thank you very much for watching. Appreciate you supporting me trying a new type of content on the channel. Let's hope that it goes well and we can do a lot more. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.